The Empire's discovery. Admiral Corvin stood before the massive viewing portal of the flagship Dominion's Edge, his forearms clasped behind his back as he gazed into the star-filled void. The hegemony's most successful conquest commander had spent 30 years bringing order to chaotic worlds across the galaxy. Today would mark another routine addition to their ever-expanding empire. The bridge around him hummed with activity as his crew prepared for what should be a simple operation. The hegemony had perfected the art of planetary acquisition over centuries. They would arrive, demonstrate overwhelming power, offer terms of surrender, and within days add another world to their collection. It had worked on over 400 planets without fail. Admiral, long-range sensors have completed the detailed scan of the target system, reported Navigation Officer Thys, her crystalline features reflecting the blue glow of her console. The third planet shows all signs of intelligent life. Population approximately 8 billion, divided into multiple nations and territories. Corvin turned his attention to the holographic display that materialized before him. The planet appeared as a beautiful blue and green sphere, with swirling white clouds dancing across its surface. It reminded him of Kepler Prime, one of the hegemony's most productive agricultural worlds. "What is their technological status?" he asked, examining the data streams flowing alongside the planet's image. "Primitive, sir," responded intelligence analyst Vex, his 6 eyes scanning multiple data screens simultaneously. "They have basic space travel capability, limited to their own system. Their weapons technology appears to be chemical-based projectiles and explosive devices. No energy shields detected, no plasma weaponry, no faster-than-light capability." Corvin nodded with satisfaction. These parameters fit perfectly within the hegemony's expansion protocols. A species advanced enough to be useful as workers and administrators, but not developed enough to pose any serious resistance. "They call themselves humans," continued Vex. "Their planet is designated Earth in their primary languages. Interesting characteristic, Admiral. They appear to engage in frequent warfare among themselves. Our monitoring stations have recorded over 50 active conflicts in the past standard year alone." This information made Corvin pause. Most species unify their homeworlds before developing significant technology. Internal warfare usually indicated either extreme primitiveness or unusual aggression. Given their technological level, he suspected the former. "Do they have a planetary government?" he inquired. "Negative, sir. They maintain hundreds of separate political entities, many in active opposition to each other. No centralized authority that could speak for the entire species." Commander Jal, Corvin's second-in-command, approached the display with his typical methodical precision. "Admiral, this fragmentation will actually work to our advantage. With no unified leadership, they cannot mount coordinated resistance. We can negotiate surrender with their major powers separately." "Agreed," Corvin replied. "What about their military capabilities?" "Scattered and inconsistent," reported Tactical Officer Grimm, his massive frame dwarfing his control station. "They possess aircraft, surface vessels, and ground vehicles, but their most powerful weapons could barely damage our fighter craft shields. Their space-based assets are minimal, a few small stations, and research outposts." Corvin walked closer to the hologram, studying the planet's surface features. Cities sprawled across every continent, connected by intricate transportation networks. The humans had clearly mastered large-scale organization and construction, which would make them valuable additions to the hegemony's workforce. "Prepare the standard conquest fleet," he ordered. 3 dreadnoughts should be more than sufficient. We will follow Protocol 7. Arrive in force. Broadcast surrender terms. Demonstrate our capabilities if necessary. Then accept their capitulation. "Yes, Admiral," acknowledged Fleet Coordinator Nex. Estimated time to target system: 18 standard hours at cruiser speed. Corvin calculated. More than enough time to prepare diplomatic packages and translation protocols. As his crew began preparations, Corvin felt the familiar anticipation that came with adding a new world to the hegemony. The humans would initially resist, as all species did, but they would quickly recognize the futility of opposing the galaxy's dominant civilization. Within a few years, Earth would be a productive member world, its inhabitants grateful for the stability and prosperity that hegemony membership provided. The Dominion's Edge and her two escort dreadnoughts, Iron Decree and Stellar Conquest, engaged their hyperdrive systems and vanished into the swirling tunnel of accelerated spacetime that would carry them to their destination. 18 hours later, the three massive vessels emerged from hyperspace in Earth's outer system. Each dreadnought stretched nearly 3 kilometers in length, their hull plating gleaming with the dark metal that had intimidated countless worlds. Weapon emplacements lined their surfaces like the spines of some enormous predator, while shield generators hummed with enough power to deflect asteroid impacts. All systems operational, Admiral reported Chief Engineer Koss from his position at the primary control matrix. Weapons charged and ready, shields at maximum strength, communication arrays prepared for planetary broadcast. Corvin took his position in the command throne, an elevated seat that provided him with tactical displays and direct control over all ship functions. Through the viewing portal, Earth grew larger as they approached, its blue surface becoming more defined with each passing moment. Open communication channels to all human broadcasting frequencies, he commanded. Standard Conquest Protocol, all major languages. The communication officer, a thin-limbed alien named Cess, activated the planetary broadcast system. Corvin's image and voice would now be transmitted to every radio, television, and digital network on the planet below. People of Earth, he began, using the formal tone that had proven effective on hundreds of other worlds. I am Admiral Corvin of the Galactic Hegemony. Your world has been selected for integration into our civilization. You have 6 standard hours to prepare for peaceful surrender. Any resistance will be met with overwhelming force. This is your only opportunity to join the hegemony willingly. Corvin expected the usual response: panic, desperate attempts at negotiation, or stunned silence. Instead, something unprecedented happened. The humans began responding immediately, and they sounded excited. Well, it's about time, came a voice over the communication system, clear and confident. We've been waiting for you to show up. The main screen activated, displaying what appeared to be a human military command center. A middle-aged human female in uniform sat behind a desk, her expression one of eager anticipation rather than fear. Behind her, dozens of other humans worked at advanced-looking computer systems. I am Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Coalition, the human announced. Welcome to our system, Admiral Corvin. We've been monitoring your approach since you entered our outer detection grid. Corvin felt a chill of uncertainty. Detection grid. His intelligence reports hadn't mentioned any long-range sensor networks. The humans should have been caught completely off guard by their arrival. Commander Chen, he replied carefully, I believe you misunderstand the situation. The hegemony is offering your species the opportunity to surrender peacefully. Continued resistance will only result in unnecessary casualties. Chen smiled, an expression that somehow seemed more predatory than friendly. Admiral, I think you're the one who doesn't understand. We've been preparing for this moment for over 20 years, ever since our deep space monitoring stations detected your empire's expansion pattern. We knew you'd come here eventually. Impossible, declared intelligence analyst Vex. Our scans showed no advanced sensor technology. That's because we didn't want you to see it, replied a new voice. Another human appeared on screen. A tall, gray-haired man with numerous medals on his uniform. General Marcus Kane, Earth Defense Force Supreme Commander. We've been watching your scout ships for decades, learning about your technology, your tactics, your conquest patterns. Corvin exchanged glances with Commander Jal. This was not following any known protocol. Species did not typically prepare for hegemony contact, and they certainly did not monitor Imperial movements without being detected. General Kane, Corvin said, maintaining his authoritative tone. Regardless of your preparations, you cannot possibly match the hegemony's military power. Our ships carry weapons capable of eliminating your major cities in minutes. Your surrender is inevitable." Kane chuckled, a sound that seemed completely inappropriate given the circumstances. "Admiral, you made one critical error in your intelligence gathering. You assumed that what you observed represented our full capabilities." Suddenly, alarms began sounding throughout the hegemony fleet. Tactical displays lit up with new contacts, ships that hadn't been there moments before. Hundreds of vessels appeared around the three dreadnoughts, sleek craft that moved with impossible speed and precision. "Where did they come from?" demanded Tactical Officer Grimm, his instruments struggling to track the new arrivals. "Stealth technology, mostly," explained Commander Chen cheerfully. "Plus a few tricks we developed specifically for this occasion. Meet the Earth Defense Fleet, 1,200 combat vessels, all equipped with our latest innovations." Corvin stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The human ships were smaller than hegemony dreadnoughts, but larger than fighters, and they moved in perfect coordination around his fleet. Their design was unlike anything in the Imperial database, smooth, organic curves that seemed to flow through space rather than simply traveling through it. "Your move, Admiral," said General Kane. "We can do this the easy way or the fun way. Personally, we're hoping you choose the fun way. Humanity has been looking forward to a real challenge for quite some time. The battle unfolds." Admiral Corvin felt something he had not experienced in 3 decades of conquest: uncertainty. The human fleet surrounding his dreadnoughts moved with a fluid grace that defied conventional tactical doctrine. Their ships flowed around his massive vessels like schools of fish, never presenting static targets while maintaining perfect formation integrity. "Admiral," reported Tactical Officer Grimm, his voice strained with confusion, "their energy signatures are unlike anything in our database. These vessels are generating power levels that should be impossible for their size." "How is that relevant?" Corvin demanded. "They are still vastly outnumbered by our firepower. 3 dreadnoughts carry more destructive capability than their entire fleet." Commander Chen's image remained on the main screen, her expression one of patient amusement. "Admiral, you're thinking about this wrong. This isn't about raw firepower. It's about effectiveness. We've had 20 years to study your technology and develop countermeasures." "Impossible," declared intelligence analyst Vex. "No species has ever successfully analyzed hegemony technology without direct access to our systems." General Kane reappeared beside Chen on the display. "That's where you made your second mistake. You assumed your scout ships were undetectable. We've been quietly capturing and studying your reconnaissance drones for 2 decades. Every innovation, every weapon system, every defensive measure, we know how it all works." The implications of this statement sent a chill through the hegemony bridge crew. If the humans had truly reverse-engineered Imperial technology, they would know exactly how to exploit its weaknesses. "Even if that were true," Corvin replied with forced confidence, "knowledge does not equal capability. Your industrial base cannot match the hegemony's production capacity." "You're right about that," admitted Commander Chen. "We can't build ships as massive as your dreadnoughts. So we decided to build something better, ships that are faster, more maneuverable, and specifically designed to defeat your technology." Lieutenant Zara, the youngest officer on Corvin's bridge, studied the tactical displays with growing alarm. "Admiral," she said quietly, "their formation pattern is creating overlapping fields of fire. They're positioning themselves to maximize damage while minimizing our ability to target them effectively." Corvin examined the display more carefully. The human ships were indeed moving in a complex 3-dimensional web around his fleet, never remaining in the same position long enough to be targeted while maintaining constant firing solutions on the dreadnoughts. "They cannot penetrate our shields," he stated firmly. "Hegemony defensive systems have never been breached by any species we have encountered." "Want to test that theory?" asked Commander Chen with evident enthusiasm. Before Corvin could respond, the human fleet opened fire. But these were not the primitive projectile weapons his intelligence reports had described. Beams of pure energy, more concentrated and focused than anything in the hegemony arsenal, struck the Dominion's edge with surgical precision. The shield systems held, but warning indicators flashed across multiple control panels as power levels fluctuated wildly. The humans weren't trying to overwhelm the shields with brute force. They were targeting specific frequency harmonics, creating resonance patterns that disrupted the entire defensive matrix. Shield integrity down to 60%, reported Chief Engineer Koss, his voice tight with disbelief. These weapons are tuned to exploit our exact shield frequencies. Return fire, ordered Corvin. All batteries, maximum intensity. The 3 dreadnoughts unleashed their full destructive power, energy beams, and plasma torpedoes, filling space with deadly radiation. But the human ships had already moved, their impossible agility allowing them to dance between the incoming weapons fire with graceful efficiency. Direct hits on multiple targets, reported Grimm. But Admiral, their ships are still operational. Our weapons appear to be having minimal effect. On the main screen, General Kane was grinning broadly. Adaptive armor plating, he explained cheerfully. It analyzes incoming energy patterns and adjusts molecular structure to provide maximum resistance. We learned the technique from studying your own hull materials, then improved on it. Commander Jal stepped closer to Corvin's command throne. Admiral, we are facing an unprecedented situation. These humans have not only matched our technology, they have surpassed it in several key areas. The battle continued to rage around them, but it was becoming clear that the hegemony forces were at a severe disadvantage. The human ships struck with pinpoint accuracy, targeting weapon systems and shield generators while avoiding areas that might cause catastrophic damage. They were fighting to disable, not destroy. Why aren't they trying to eliminate us? Asked Lieutenant Zora, voicing the question that was troubling everyone on the bridge. Commander Chen seemed to hear her query through the communication link. Because that's not what this is about, she replied. We're not trying to conquer you or drive you away. We're trying to make a point. What point? Demanded Corvin, watching as another wave of human fighters disabled one of his secondary weapon arrays. General Kane leaned forward in his chair. The point that maybe, just maybe, you've been approaching this whole expansion thing wrong. The galaxy is a big place, Admiral. Big enough for multiple civilizations to coexist without one dominating all the others. The hegemony brings order to chaos, Corvin replied, reciting the doctrine that had guided his entire career. Unified government eliminates conflict and promotes prosperity. Does it? Asked Chen pointedly. Or does it just replace multiple small conflicts with one enormous oppressive system? We've been studying the worlds you've conquered, Admiral. A lot of them weren't exactly thriving under hegemony rule. This statement struck uncomfortably close to doubts that Corvin had harbored for years but never voiced. Some conquered worlds did seem to lose their cultural vitality after integration, becoming efficient but somehow diminished versions of their former selves. The battle around them was winding down, not through victory or defeat, but through a gradual cessation of hostilities. The human ships had systematically disabled the offensive capabilities of all 3 dreadnoughts, while avoiding any actions that might cause serious casualties. Admiral, reported Tactical Officer Grimm, all primary weapon systems are offline. Shield generators are operating at minimal capacity. We are effectively neutralized but not destroyed. Corvin stared at the tactical display, processing the implications of what had just occurred. A supposedly primitive species had not only defeated the hegemony's most advanced fleet, but had done so while demonstrating remarkable restraint and precision. Why? He asked simply, looking at the humans on his screen. Because we want to talk, replied General Kane. Real talk, not the usual surrender or die conversation. We think there might be a better way for our civilizations to interact. Commander Chen activated something on her console, and the tactical display changed to show a broader view of Earth's system. Massive construction projects were visible around multiple planets and moons, industrial complexes, and defense installations that had been completely hidden from hegemony sensors. "We've been busy," she explained. 20 years of preparation has given us quite a head start on infrastructure development. We're not just another primitive world waiting to be conquered. We're a fully developed civilization with our own goals and ambitions." "What do you want?" asked Corvin, his worldview shifting with each new revelation. "Partnership," said Kane immediately. "Trade agreements, technology exchange, cultural interaction. All the benefits of contact with a galactic civilization without the subjugation part." Lieutenant Zora looked up from her station. "Admiral, incoming communication from Hegemony High Command. They're requesting a status update on the conquest." Corvin considered his options. He could report failure and request reinforcements, potentially escalating the situation into a prolonged conflict. Or he could explore this unprecedented opportunity for a different kind of relationship with a species that had proven itself both capable and reasonable. "Tell High Command that the situation is more complex than initially assessed," he decided. "Request permission to engage in extended negotiations with the local leadership." Commander Chen smiled, an expression of genuine warmth this time rather than predatory anticipation. "We were hoping you'd say something like that. Admiral, we think this could be the beginning of something remarkable, not just for our species, but for the entire galaxy." "How so?" asked Corvin, his curiosity overcoming his military training. General Kane gestured toward the tactical display, which now showed star charts extending far beyond Earth's system. "The galaxy is full of civilizations, Admiral. Most of them are probably just as tired of being conquered as they are afraid of being left alone. Maybe it's time for a different approach. Cooperation instead of domination. Alliance instead of empire." As Corvin contemplated this radical proposition, he realized that the humans had accomplished something far more significant than defeating his fleet. They had challenged the fundamental assumptions upon which the hegemony's expansion was based, and they had done so not through destruction, but through demonstration of a better alternative. The greatest victory in galactic history was not won through superior firepower or advanced technology. It was won through the simple but revolutionary idea that strength could be shared rather than imposed, and that the future,